What is going on, Axie fam? Elijah here, back with another video. It has been a while, and joining me today, I've got the world champ, the 5-time Axie season winner, 1437. Thanks for being back.
Been a hot minute, but here we are back again for some more Axie content.
Yeah, and I'm hyped because we're heading into the Mystic era, so I'm sure there's lots to be discussed. We're going to do that, look at some team options, kind of look at the overall landscape of Axie. Before jumping into it, I have a very quick plug. Part of why I've been away is that I've been working really hard on my music. If you're interested, you can go to Elijah Flowers on YouTube or Elijah Flowers on Spotify, where I have all of my songs up. I have an album dropping in 2 days. I've got some music videos that I've worked really hard on. And 6 p.m. is when I wake up. I've been pouring my heart and soul into that, so I appreciate any support. Now that the album is done and on the way, I have to look at what's happening in the world of Axie. First of all, Theben, how have you been, man? Like, tell me a bit about Season 5 so far.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a really interesting season, to say the least. I don't think it's been my most favorite rare and epic era. I've had my own turmoils with that, but I feel like the Mystic era is shaping out to be a little bit better. Epic era, it had a lot of sustain and curse teams without any counters to them. There weren't a lot of sources of damage that you can actually use to be able to counter them efficiently. So it was honestly a slugfest. Mystic era, a little bit faster. More things that you might have to consider, and I'm kind of enjoying it a little bit more.
Yeah, that's awesome. I can see on the leaderboard here that right away it looks different from when I previously checked in the Epic era. There was tons of sustain comps and curse comps, and here we've got a lot of aggression, so Topaz seems to have come raging back.
Yeah, there's a lot of different reasons why Topaz is good. I mean, it's just a really solid overall composition. Collect and protect, getting to your cards earlier is very important for Topaz to build up your tempo. You got Mantis Dagger, which is a really strong Mystic Charm, and we got like banishes on some of them on the charm, Mystic Charm as well, which is really good at enabling Topaz. So they just got a lot of support overall.
It seems, I mean, it's very dominant looking right now. Poison kind of shows up in right around here. 22 is the highest ranked Poison, but it seems to have a place here in the top 50, which is interesting. I'm still waiting for the day where we've got different, more funky archetypes like Bubbles or Poison getting into that top 10. Do you think that's even possible this season, or is it going to be the Topaz show?
It's really funny you say that, because just yesterday we had like Poison, Bubble, Curses, Metamorphosis, and Topaz all in the top 10. There were like completely different teams. But now, there was a player who was playing a really solid Topaz team. People started to use a version of that and try to climb up. At the same time, the more people who do play Topaz, it does have a weakness. For example, curse comps, jinx comps, a version of jinx comps can really defeat these Topaz teams. So it's just like a meta that's just constantly changing every single day on the leaderboards right now. So
kind of like rock, paper, scissors a little.
Exactly. So it just happens to be a Topaz day, but just the day before we had like 5 different archetypes in the top 10.
Well, that's actually really cool. I'm excited to hear that and maybe get to play around with something different myself as I jump into the Mystic era and try and play some Origins. So why don't we jump into like budgets and options for teams depending on people's goals, right? Because what it seems like is that the Axie teams can be maybe $40, but the Runes and Charms to get into this ranking here in the top 50 is what's going to set you back. So do you have any thoughts or opinions on that for someone who's starting out and they want to try their very best to get up to like top 100?
Yeah, so the Topaz team's I think a little bit pricier on the Charms and Runes end, especially the Charms. You're going to need a few Mantis Daggers. You're going to need some of the Banished Charms as well. I think the Poison team is probably the cheapest composition that you can make and try to climb the highest with it as well. It also beats a variety of different teams, including Topaz. Especially if you're running like a Potato Leaf or you're running some Bleed. It can really make Topaz's life difficult. At the same time, you're also playing Venoki, which is a starter Axie.
Right.
And
Yeah.
you can use that in like one of the best poison comps in the game, pretty much.
That's really crazy and something that I noticed really within Poison that Vinoki's being used. I thought that's actually really dope. And I'm excited to try it out myself. How about this? We can talk about Sky Mavis and larger scope of Axie in a bit here, right? Since it's been a while since we've really had a full update video on the trajectory of everything Ronin related. But while we're on the topic of metas, I really like Poison teams. You know, I hit rank 1 on the leaderboard once, Stephen? Way back in like season 1 or something, or maybe alpha season. My name, rank 1, number 1, Elijah. I was up there.
Yep. Playing Poison, I remember.
I was playing Poison with Rise and Ruin, and I was like healing and shielding and making everyone die of poison. So I'm a fan, and I think it'd be really cool to try to throw a team together here, give an example of how it can be done, and then look at what I might need to supplement that with runes and charms wise. Tell me what you're thinking from a high level perspective when you're looking at poison teams out there or building a poison team.
Yeah, so there's two different versions of poison teams. One where you're playing chubby dual blades, and one where you're just playing gecko eyes, and you got a bunch of just poison parts with potato leaves, trying to stun them, control them, just get stacks up. But the most important part, whether you're gonna have like a S tier poison team at not, is always going to be the paralyzing glare. So that's actually probably the most expensive rune in the game. So if you don't have it, I mean, it's okay. You can still be like a top 500, top 200 range player. But if you have this, you can definitely have a shot at being in the top 100. And, the other parts aren't going to be as expensive in comparison to some of the other teams.
So if you can't get paralyzing glare, what's the best alternative?
So if you don't have the paralyzing glare, I think the best alternative to that would probably be a leaf cloak plus rise and ruin and Vinoki's poison with using Vinoki in your team. So it's pretty much just epic rune, a Vinoki, and in terms of charms, maybe if you can afford to get some of the gloves, it'll be nice. But if not, that's completely fine. You can play this team with just epic runes and charms and come to the top. I have seen one player who was actually near the top 100 just playing a team like that.
I think this is who you're talking about, right? Bagel from Sushi Club. We can see he's got Vinoki's Poison, Rise and Ruin, Leaf Cloak. Pretty cool looking team to be this high up with because it is way more budget friendly than what we saw there with that $60 rune.
Yep. I mean, Rise and Ruin is just an absolute monster of a rune in this season, especially in the Epic era. We pretty much saw every, composition with poison or summons or curses, whatever it may be, running this. Even sustain teams were running this because it was sort of their win condition. But poison with this, it pretty much wins against sustain. It's really good in the late game. You got a lot of damage, so you can just like pinpoint and just get that wrath out and just kill a target, especially if they have a lot of single target. And with the leaf cloak, you got all these leaves coming out. You got a lot of sustainability, and you can live very long as well on that leaf cloak Axie because of all the HP you have on it and the healing.
This is dope, man. I'm excited to play some poison again. And I think for anyone who wants to play poison, it should be pretty easy to acquire them, right? Like it's not...
Definitely.
I mean, even if I was to go here and click find similar Axies, okay, $20 for your plant in order to have that going up front. This is also a plant, right? Another $20, so we're at $40 for the front and the mid, and then your other Axie is free because it's a starter Axie. But you do have to stack runes and charms on top of that and take that into account as well. So this is, I think, a pretty cool approach for poison. If you want to beef it up, like we said, you go paralyze and glare. I'm probably going to play Poison and then make a video on it later around gameplay. Maybe I can even bring Theban on to coach me on some things related to Poison gameplay. But that's what I'm planning on jumping back into the Origins with.
Well, I also want to mention, just to add on to that, the runes and charms for this team specifically is going to cost you like $10 to $15 at most.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Yeah. So it's like a $50 team maybe.
Exactly. A $50 team. This player right now rank 109. Which is ridiculous, for a team that just costs you $50 essentially to make. But, you can do that as well if you're a great player. Just got to put in the time, make the right plays and climb to the top. I think it's very much possible.
That's awesome.
To answer your question about are there other teams, I feel like a lot of the compositions right now are not that expensive to get. Like, for example, for the Topaz teams, the Axies are extremely cheap. The Runes and Charms are a little bit more expensive. But then you got things like Bubbles, right? Bubbles, in a lot of them, are just floor Axies. There are many, many Axies that have double Nemos plus Sponge that you can actually use. And the only expensive part is probably gonna be Heart of the Ocean,
Heart of
and
the
everything
Ocean.
else costs you like 40 cents, 50 cents, a dollar at most.
Yeah, $20 for the rune. That's it.
So Bubble Team, also very good, very strong team, extremely cheap. The idea is simple. You get the energy shard. You get to ramp with using the Nemo tail into the Nemo ear, and you just continuously ramp, get a lot of energy. You're playing like 4 per turn. You're gonna play the sponges to build up the stacks of your bubbles, and then you pretty much just try to one-shot your opponent. Really cool composition, extremely cheap to acquire as well.
Yeah, this guy must have a really like special version because this one Axie here that I showed is only one of them, $102. But I think it's because it's got square teeth, it's got Neo eyes, right?
Right. So it's got the Neo eyes, but some of those parts are not necessary. You only need like 4 or 5 maybe of the parts in order to use the Axie. So if we actually remove Neo, we're gonna see a lot more Axies that we can use for the Aqua. If we remove the Oranda, we'll see even more. So right there, we see the little Peas one. Yep. That's not gonna hurt that much just to lose a Neo.
And then here we go down to like $13, right?
Yeah, so the other one right there I see with the Clear and the Showstar, I mean, it's only one attack card, so it'll be a little bit more problematic. For example, the one with the Anemone plus the Neo, I think that could make a lot of sense. $20. So, the floor here, $20. I think it's great. You can still use the Showstar if you want. It's just that, you only have one attack card to be able to trigger your bubbles.
Yeah, super cool. And then Topaz we'll probably not talk too much about because Topaz has been around dominating for a really long time. We could maybe do a dedicated video on it later. Let me know in the comments what you guys want to see as far as metas go. But yeah, I think that was a really good overall look at kind of where we're at in the meta land of Origins in Season 5, heading into Mystic Era. And I'm excited to see what pulls out ahead. I have a feeling there's a chance, just based off what you said, that maybe it isn't Topaz in the final days. We'll see. It'd be really cool to get some more diversity. And it looks like that the way the game is that there's actually a shot of that happening.
Oh, most definitely. I think the meta still hasn't developed yet. A lot of people who are buying some of the higher end stuff, let's say if you're trying to go really high up, could get potentially burned because some of these runes and charms are a little bit pricey. But if you already know exactly what you want to play and you're just going to try to get as high as you can with that team, then feel free to get something right now. Maybe later on, if that composition that you want is the one that everybody's chasing for, it's going to get even more expensive.
Yeah.
As the season comes near to an end.
It's always a wild stretch toward the finish line in Origins every time. So let's go ahead and move into the larger scope of Axie and Ronin and Sky Mavis and everything that is going on. First of all, I can barely keep track of it. It seems like every day there's a new announcement, there's a new feature or a new game or a new project, and I'm honestly extremely impressed with the way that they're delivering this high quality output of content and development. What are you thinking right now about it?
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm excited. There's so many things. Like, people think, oh, I'm just here, I just play games. Nah, man. I'm actually here for the entirety of the ecosystem. Mm-hmm. I love all the new games that they're bringing out and onboarding. It's coming with new individuals, and all the people that are already in our ecosystem are very much enjoying it. Now we got badges, as I see on your screen right now. So I was told that this is just the beginning.
Yeah.
This is the beginning of the badges. There's so much more coming. I'm assuming there's gonna be ones for the leaderboards. Yeah. Right. I'm sure that the borders, some of the ones that we've got that are collectibles, essentially, that were limited edition, probably gonna be mintable.
There's even an Axie on
the market. Yeah, that one's great.
Yeah, that's sick.
So I'm really looking forward to all these other badges that are going to be there, because this is going to be your identity. It's going to show, what you were able to accomplish.
Yeah.
right? And it's something that's also in some ways, I assume in the future, going to be transferable as
Yeah.
well. So imagine, 10, 15 years from now, someone's going to come out and be like, yo, that's the first ever AxieCon badge. You know how
Right.
badass that's going to
Dude, for
be. And there's
sure.
not going to be a lot of them.
I know. It's so cool, man. I really love it. We've got streamer rewards, so if you're a streamer, make sure you get in touch with that. We've got multiple tournaments happening. We just had V2 make a bit of a comeback. For people who are wondering what team I was playing, this is it. It's a Mortal Bug, Eggshell Bird with damage output, and a plant up front with Goda and Sandal. I had so much fun playing V2, honestly. I ended the season 323. I got into top 100 and then stopped. I would love to see like more rewards for like where you ended, right? Like if there had been higher rewards for top 10, I'd have been more motivated to go for it. I also was busy with a lot of other stuff, but I'm glad I was able to jump in there and play a bit. Really got my heart pumping, really got my like love for battling in Classic that came back for me. But everyone in the top 500 here I think qualifies to a tournament to compete for some AXS, so make sure that you follow Axie and Discord to keep tabs with that. Don't miss out on your tournament opportunity. Now, Theban, did you play some V2? How was that for you? Did you enjoy it? Yeah?
Yeah, I played a little bit of V2. I think I touched like top 100 for a little bit, but it was a really busy weekend for me, so I wasn't able to like play on the last couple of days.
Yeah.
Overall, it really brought back a lot of memories. I realized like because I haven't played in a very long time, I wasn't playing very well in comparison to how I used to be and how I used to play. But yeah, that kind of frustrated me a little bit, knowing that hey, like I knew where I was, I'm not there anymore. It would be cool if I was able to play as well as I used to. But overall, I feel like the game could use an overhaul in terms of the visuals. I feel like I'm playing on 16-bit or something, and I was starting to like get a headache in the very beginning. Compared to Origins looks beautiful. Right? Like, it just looks absolutely stunning. So I think an upgrade on that, and then get a fix on Critical Strike, as everybody has been complaining about since the dawn of this game. But if they do those two things, I feel like Origin is gonna be another game that's gonna be in the ecosystem.
Dude, totally. I really think there's room for everything within Axie. I don't think we need to I understand the benefits as far as even in the economy with Origins. It's been great. It's been great for burning SLP. And some people really prefer that game over Classic. Some people really prefer Classic over Origins. And I think there's a way for them to coexist that just builds our network more than anything else. I know Indez was back playing some. Thunder came back to play. I came back to play. Shout out this guy, David947, YouTube Save Axie Classic. Go check out his channel. He is like full commitment to the love of Classic. This guy is like it's awesome. Like he's just so passionate about the game. That's just the sort of thing that you love to see about our community. Like this dude literally just posts his games. I think last time I checked he had 90 subs. He's got 158 now. And if I go to his videos, he's just doing it all the time. Here's my build. He's playing top opponents. People are interested. It's gaining views, and I fucking love it, dude.
Yeah, you definitely have a soft spot in your heart for Axie Classic. That's for sure. That's where it all started, right?
Yeah. I do. I just like to see that the passion's there for so many, and I don't want to ignore it is all. And I'm glad that Sky Mavis has doing something for it. So we can go ahead and we can move on from it now, but I just wanted to touch base on where we're at with it.
Yeah, I definitely see that they are showing love to it, and as long as the people react, I feel like they're going to continue to show love for Axie Classic. And like I said, like hopefully I want to see that overhaul, because the visual and then the change on crits.
I know you get like dizzy, don't you? Like you get like nauseous or something.
Oh,
yeah. And like I said before, man, it's pretty like you've got to be checking every single day to know what's going on, because that's how fast things are getting updated. There's a whole handful of games that have been announced. There's a real-time strategy game that just got announced recently and that I'm very interested in. And I don't know, what are your final thoughts, maybe, Theban, on kind of like where we're headed as a community? Ron, any feelings around our ecosystem?
Yeah, I think Sky Mavis just went into another gear very recently. I mean, they've been shipping stuff nonstop for the past years, but now I feel like they're going to another level.
Yeah,
So
CyberKongs, we didn't even mention that. They're building a whole new IP
that's
here.
huge.
Yeah.
Yep, I got a bunch of Kongs. You know, I feel great about it. I think there's a lot of potential in the coming year or so. I feel that Sky Mavis is really gearing up for something huge coming up, and you know, we would be crazy to ignore that. So that's all I'm gonna say. I'm very much invested in what Ronin, Sky Mavis, Axie, Origins, Classic, Infinity, everything has going on, and you know, I don't see that changing anytime soon.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I mean, the fact that, CyberKong is really one of the premium NFT collections out there on mainnet or on Ethereum now. We've got Genkai on Ronin as well as Ethereum. And I believe there's game production in the works. I think they want to do a tactics game, or I heard that like floating around, which would be pretty sick. And to me, this is just the beginning of the Mavis marketplace. And what we know is that protecting creator royalties is massive, because all these like just wonky sites, OpenSea and Blur, they're just getting greedy. They're finding, they're competing with each other to snub out the creators, which is not what NFTs are supposed to be about. So for us to be a landing pad, I mean, that's why even Bored Apes are trying to go do their own thing and move off of those platforms. So for us to be ahead of that with Ronin Network and Mavis Marketplace and be like a safe haven for quality projects, if you believe in this space, then like to not be intrigued by that or to not see the potential, I think is a pretty big oversight in my opinion.
Oh yeah, and the minting process was just smooth.
Perfect.
Like I don't know if anyone has ever minted anything on Ethereum or anywhere else, but that was like the fastest, cleanest mint.
Dude,
ever.
it was so good. Yeah.
Everyone would agree with that.
Yeah. I think on that note, we can wrap this video up. I'm going to put together a team here and jump back into the arena. And from there, we can, look to the next video as we head down the home stretch. Maybe I can have Theban on, teach me the ropes with some gameplay stuff. Or I'll just fend for myself and see how good I can do with whatever it is that we put together. I'll probably play Poison. Are there any final thoughts that you want to leave people with as we head down the home stretch here in Season 5?
I just want to say, good luck to everyone who is going to be trying to push during the Mystic era. It's always a fun last few days. I wish everybody the best, and just hopefully they'll be able to get the results that they want.
Awesome. All right, thanks for coming back on the channel, Theban. Appreciate having you here. Yep, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.